Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the SMA Journey 51 series. Okay guys, yesterday I did a video where I talked about my blood work results that I got back from my doctor when I went for my yearly physical, and I got those results back about 2 weeks ago. So as far as a baseline, something to compare it to when I start my treatment, if I start my treatment pretty soon, those will be a good baseline results. If it's another 6 or 8 weeks before I start my Spinraza treatments, then we'll probably have to do another blood workup to make sure that the levels have stayed the same. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video, and this is going to be part 2 where I talk about my physical strength. And I wanted to show you a request that I had from one of my users, and that's the reason why I'm doing these videos now instead of waiting for a couple of weeks. The question goes on to read, I was wondering if you have a video talking pretty in depth about where your strength is right now, maybe even showing how high you can lift your arms. I know it's different for everyone, but I'd rather have some idea instead of the doctors just telling me that they have no idea what to expect other than a decline in strength. So anyway, I thought this request went well with regards to doing the video now. So hopefully I'll be able to answer not only his question, but maybe some of the questions that you guys are having. So I'm going to start with my strength level at my feet and work all the way up to my head. Currently, my feet do have some edema in them, probably for the fact that I've been in a wheelchair for so many years, and I don't wear feet rests. Back in junior high, I quit wearing feet rests because I wasn't able to get up against my desk, or if I was trying to go in and out of a door, the feet rest would keep me from reaching the door handle. So I took my feet rest off and I put a towel underneath my legs to raise my feet up so they wouldn't drag. But over the course of, I guess, 40 or 50 years, some edema has set in on my legs. And again, that's because, and I would imagine most of you probably have that as well, even if you wear feet rests, because we lead sedentary lives and we don't get up and exercise. So it's hard to pull that fluid from our feet back up into our body. But when I went to the doctor, she checked and she squeezed my ankles and my feet with her fingers, and there was good capillary return, meaning that after she squeezed them, the blood came right back. So she was not really concerned about the edema. She did give me a prescription for a diuretic that I could take if I needed it, and really it's just more on a as-need basis rather than a daily prescription. So on days that I do have significant swelling in my feet, then I'll go ahead and take the diuretic for a couple of days, and that really does help. The only problem with the diuretic is you end up having to go to the bathroom quite a few times a day. So there are some drawbacks to it. So I only do it when I know I'm going to be home. Regarding my knees, I still have flexibility in my knees, but over the course of 50 years, atrophy has set in with regards to the muscle and the tendons. So if I lay down in bed, my caregiver can press down on my knees and straighten my legs out to a certain extent, but I can't straighten the legs out all the way. And I'll explain a little bit more in detail about that when I start talking about my hips. But the knees have, I guess, atrophied to the point to where, having sat in a wheelchair as many years as I have, that the tendons have tightened up. So it's really, really hard for me to straighten out. Now, I can straighten out enough to get comfortable, but when I lay down in bed at night, I put a couple of pillows underneath my legs just to support my legs and to keep them from trying to straighten out too much. With regards to my hips, my right hip is definitely higher than my left hip. And on the video, you can see that my right shoulder is significantly higher than my left. And that's because my hips are off. My hips are off because I had scoliosis as a child. When I was 15 years old, back in 1980, I had spinal surgery, and they inserted 2 rods into my back. And the surgery was done at Scottish Rite Hospital for Children in Dallas, Texas. Now, back then, they did 2 rods, where they put 2 rods in your back and they fused them to your spine. Now, I believe the surgery is set up to where kids having this surgery today, it's only 1 rod. And that really does help because they're not as rigid as what I am. I used to could bend at the chest, but I can no longer do that. And I was swimming all the way up until the age of 15. But once I had my back surgery, I gave up swimming because I lost a lot of flexibility, and it really made it much harder for me to swim. And I usually swam alone. I didn't have anybody else in the pool with me. And I got nervous that if I fell over to the wrong side, I might not be able to roll over since I lost the flexibility and able to twist like I used to. So again, the surgery benefited me to the point where it helps me sit up straighter, but it was also a detriment because I lost a lot of flexibility due to it. And I haven't really lost a lot of strength in my legs with regards to my ankles, my knees, and my hips due to the SMA because I was never able to stand under my own power. Now, regarding my arms and my upper torso, I have lost significant strength. My left arm, and I would back up and show you guys, but I'm using my camera, my web camera on my monitor right now. When I start my treatments, I'm going to be using my GoPro camera, and I'll be able to show you a little bit better. But I cannot lift my left arm at all. It's completely immobile, and it just sits in my lap. I can move it around, but as far as lifting or moving my arm up toward my chest or above my shoulders, I cannot do that with my left arm at all. My right arm, I'm a little bit more mobile. I've got a little bit better range of motion, but I'm even losing a lot of strength in that arm as well. I used to could lift both arms up above my head. Now my left arm, like I said, I can't lift it all. And my right arm, I have to struggle to get it up to my chin. So it definitely has, the disease itself has definitely caused some problems. And it is a decline in strength. But again, you got to remember, this is just the progression of the disease. So I really can't complain. I'm 52 years old, and I've seen a lot of people that have SMA, and I'm much better than some and much worse than others. So, I guess my age, I've never really met anybody much older than me that has SMA. So I consider myself quite lucky to be in the condition that I'm in right now. With regards to my dexterity in my hands, my left hand is actually a little bit stronger than my right hand. But again, I can't lift it up, so I can't use it really for anything. My right hand, I can still feed myself as long as I can stab it with a fork. But if I have to use a spoon or if I have to lift a sandwich or a hamburger or something up to my mouth, it makes it very difficult. So that's the reason why I've got a live-in caregiver that helps me eat. But my range of motion in my fingers, my hands, as far as the ring fingers go on both hands, I can't straighten those out all the way. They've atrophied, and I can bend them and I can straighten them out to a certain point. But as far as keeping those fingers out straight, like I do my other fingers, I cannot do it. I've definitely lost a lot of range of motion in my finger dexterity and strength in my left hand. My right hand is still pretty strong. Like I said, I can use it for most things. I can still use it to maneuver the mouse and work the mouse on my keyboard and my desk. But as far as me typing on the keyboard, I cannot do that anymore. I don't have the strength to lift my fingers and use the keyboard. So that's the reason why I use the online keyboard that's provided in most operating software packages that you have. So whether you're using a Windows-based operating system or, say, an Apple computer, you should have an online keyboard that you can use if you do lose the ability to type. Regarding breathing, right now my upper cardiovascular situation seems to be getting a little bit worse as I get older. I've noticed that probably over the last year to maybe year and a half that my voice doesn't project as well. I used to be able to talk real loud and even yell at certain things if I needed to. My father had congestive heart failure. His father, my grandfather, had congestive heart failure. And that is probably somewhat hereditary. So I can imagine that myself and even my older brother will probably come down with congestive heart failure if we get to be that age. But I have noticed that my breathing is a little bit more labored on certain days. Like today, I've noticed that I'm really having to speak from my diaphragm, meaning I'm really having to squeeze my stomach muscles to be able to speak long sentences and to project my voice. And some days are worse than others. Like I said, today I'm having a physically strong day, but as far as breathing, that's still labored at certain points, especially as it gets later in the day. So I don't know if you're having trouble with your voice or your breathing, but again, that's all part of the progression of the disease, and it's something that we have to know that we really don't have any control over. Again, that's why I think the Spinraza treatments are really going to be a benefit to a lot of us. With regards to my neck and my head, I've definitely lost significant strength in my neck, especially over the last 6 months to a year. If I'm getting out of my van, I need help to make sure that I don't fall forward. I don't use a chest belt on my chair now, but if I'm getting out and we're on an incline, my caregiver or whoever's with me will just put their hand on my chest while I roll down the ramp to get out of the van. Going up the ramp is fine. It's just going down. If it's too steep, my neck will tend to fall forward or my head will fall forward. and sometimes my body will follow my head. As this becomes more of a problem over the next probably 6 months to a year, I'll probably have to start using a chest belt just to keep my balance a little bit better and to keep my body from falling forward. If I am alone and my head does tend to fall forward, I don't want my upper body to follow. But right now it's not as much of a problem, but I know as time goes on, it probably will be. So again, my neck strength, even sitting at my desk, I find myself looking down, and I've got to remember I got to keep my head up as straight as possible. And sometimes I have to lean my head back just to keep it up, because on some days I'm stronger than others. Today is a strong day for me, so I'm feeling good. But I've had days where I just have to survive with my head down like this. So my neck strength is definitely giving out on me. But again, it's all part of the progression of the disease. I've got a lot of good friends that tell me the strongest muscle in my body is my jaw muscle because I talk so much. And thank God that hasn't been affected. So overall, I feel really good about where I stand with regards to my disease because, like I've said, I've met others that are worse off than what I am, and I've met quite a few that are better off than me. So, it really depends on your situation. Everybody's going to be different. And that's why I hope and pray that Spinraza not only works for me, but it works for you as well. And I keep you guys in my prayers every day, and I hope that you keep me in your prayers as well. So guys, that's the update on my physical strength. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and follow me on my other social media sites. The links are in the description below. I hope you guys have a great day, and if I don't see you tomorrow, have a happy 4th of July. Thank you guys. God bless you, and until next time, bye-bye.